Howdy, welcome back to Wobble Enjoy Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you're a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Apologies for not uploading the A-Side Tips show last night. I had myself not a medical emergency, but I definitely went to the GP and I've just been in a different headspace over the past 24 hours or so. But in much better news, I got myself 6 correct tips out of 8 in comparison to only the three that I got the week before. So let's get stuck in to round number 4 for the 2025 NRL season. Round 4 starts on Thursday night football. It features South versus Penrith from Accor Stadium. South Sydney, the home side, they are the outsiders at $3.80, whereas the Penrith Panthers are $1.27. There are team list changes for both of these teams, starting with the Rabbitohs. Campbell Graham is out with a leg injury. Bugger me dead on that front. I hope he's okay. Michaeli Ravalawa is in there. Isaiah Tass shifts from the wing into the centre slot for Campbell Graham. And Alex Johnston returns for 2025. That is fantastic news. It'll be awesome to see him again and he can get things back underway in becoming the game's all-time leading try scorer. So that is really, really cool to see him back. Keep in mind, Isaiah Tass, I think it was 2 years ago now, in this same fixture, that he scored that famous match-winning try against the Penrith Panthers. And in regards to the rest of the team list, that's just about it for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now for the Penrith Panthers, Dane Laurie is returning. He is going to be the fullback this weekend. We've got Tom Jenkins that shifts from the fullback slot into the centres, and because Nathan Cleary suffered a concussion last weekend in that epic game against the Melbourne Storm, we've got young Trent Tolau that is going to make his NRL debut in at halfback, and he absolutely slayed the competition in that pre-season trial game against the Parramatta Eels, I believe it was. No, it was against Manly. So it'll be fascinating to see how Jack Cole and Trent Tolau goes this weekend. Into the forward pack, it's their full-strength forward pack. Interchange is Talangi in jersey 14. Papali'i, Henry and Luke Garner round out the interchange bench. I have a sneaking suspicion that this will finish 1-12, but I'm going to tip the Penrith Panthers to get things back underway. So Penrith Panthers 1-12. Friday night football features 2 contests, and match number 1 emanates from Allianz Stadium. The Eastern Suburbs take on the Gold Coast Titans. Roosters are $1.47 favourites. The Titans are $2.67. For the team list for the Sydney Roosters, they are full strength in the backline. Nafahu White, Zach Docker-Clay and Spencer Leniu. That's the starting front row. Crichton, Wong and Radley, that is the back row. And then the interchange reads Savala, Steep, Butcher and Collins. Butcher and Collins are the inclusions on the bench. Now shifting over to the Gold Coast Titans, and oh my God, I'm so sorry Titans fans, and I'm so sorry Keanu Kinney. Kinney has been ruled out for the rest of the 2025 season with a neck injury that he sustained against the Newcastle Knights. That is absolutely tragic news. I'm so sorry to the Titans fans and Kinney, but swift and quick recovery to you, young man. So therefore, Jalen de Groot comes in and will be playing fullback for the Titans this weekend. And then the rest of the back line is unchanged. The forward pack as well, that is unchanged. And so too is the interchange. So there's only one change for the Titans, and that's de Groot in for Kinney. This will be the first ever game that the Gold Coast Titans will have played at the brand spanking new Allianz Stadium. I really mucked around with thinking about tipping the Gold Coast Titans in this game, and still am. Jalen de Groot could hit the ground running. And I think that this game will be a high-scoring affair. We could see something akin to a 28-26 scoreline, I think. But in any event, I think the Sydney Roosters are going to get the dub. They just need to hold on to the freaking ball and be a little bit more disciplined. But the Titans, they're going to make them sweat. But in any event, Roosters 1-12. The main event on Friday night footy emanates from Suncorp Stadium. It is the battle for Brisbane, the Dolphins versus the Broncos. Dolphins are $4.45. The Brisbane Broncos, they are $1.21 at this stage. Going into the team list for the Dolphins, there is no change based off of the game from last weekend. And then for the Brizzy Broncos, Katoni Staggs returns into the centres in jersey number 3. And then the forward pack is unchanged, and so too is the interchange for the Brizzy Broncos. Brisbane Broncos, I'm going to say, I think they'll win 1-12. I'll say Brisbane Broncos 1-12. Super Saturday has 3 games again in round number 4, and match number 1 is from Cogra. The Dragons host the Melbourne Storm. The Dragons, they are $3.06 outsiders, whereas the Melbourne Storm are $1.38 favourites. The Dragons coming off of a bye, and let's have a look at their team list. Moses Sully is going to be playing at centre. I believe he came off a couple of weeks ago, but he's going to be in the centre. Sloan remains on the wing. Holmes, Tuipulotu as well. The forward pack, Toby Couchman and Emre Gula start alongside Cook. Leilua, Seward, DeBellin, and David Clemmer makes his St. George Illawarra Dragons debut finally after a few weeks or maybe months of trying to get out of Tigers. He's going to be playing for the Dragons this weekend alongside Hamish Stewart and Dylan Egan. I think this might be a first grade debut for Dylan Egan. Going into the Melbourne Storm now, and they are, well, they're working with Grant Anderson in the centres this weekend, and Jack Howarth is the other centre, and Jerome Hughes is out with a broken hand or a broken finger. He's going to be out for 3 weeks, so Tyron Wishart comes into the halfback role. And watching NRL 360 last night, I believe that there was a lot of talk there, and now rumours starting to rumble around that Tyron Wishart could be jersey 14 for the New South Wales Blues. So Wishart's campaign for a sky blue jersey, or a Blues jersey I should say, starts this weekend. For the forward pack now, that is their full strength forward pack. The interchange is Garlic, McDonald, Kamikamitha and Va'alepu. It is being played at Cogra. They do seem to grow a third leg when they play at Cogra, the Dragons, but this Melbourne Storm outfit beaming with confidence after defeating Penrith last weekend, and they wouldn't have been overly happy with the dub. They would have been happy, but not overly happy. So I think they might be a little bit more intense this Saturday. I'm going to say the Melbourne Storm win this game 13+. The second game on Super Saturday emanates from Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Cowboys versus Raiders. At the moment, Sportsbet, they have the Cowboys slight favourites at $1.90. The Raiders are $1.94. And you know me and my opinion on this game. This is this game, if it is a close contest, Cowboys-Raiders games are some of the more insane contests that you can see if they are close contests, and I don't think they've been entirely close over the past few years or so. But going into the team list now, and the Cowboys, they are unchanged after last weekend's much better effort. Very, very proud of the effort that the Cowboys put in last weekend against the Brisbane Broncos. And then for the Canberra Raiders now, the back line is unchanged. The forward pack sees, of course, Joe Tarpany return this weekend. Of all weekends, he's going to be partnering Josh Papali'i. Corey Horsburgh has now been shifted into the lock position alongside Hudson Young and Matty Nicholson in the back row. In the interchange reads Patty, Sasangi, Mooney and Atta Mariota. I can't wait for this game, honestly. I think this will be a beauty. But I will say, I am going to put out there, if the Cowboys lose this game and they're 0-4, and then just look with a lazy eye looking towards next week, Cowboys have got Penrith in Sydney. The red light is going to start flashing big time. So as early in the season as it is, this is a must-win game for North Queensland Cowboys. They can do it, but this is not an easy beat Raiders side. This side who just got trounced by Manly, who feel like they got hard done by as well, even though they lost by 30-odd points. They're going to come up to Townsville with a lot of pep in their step, man. So this should be a beauty. Go Cowboys. They're going to win this contest 1-12. The main event on Super Saturday is Sharks versus Bulldogs from Shark Park, and it's Cronulla who are $1.26 favourites. The Bulldogs are $3.90. Whoa, dude, that has blown out for sure and should be a little bit closer. But then again, there are some team list changes that have occurred over the past couple of weeks. But going into the Cronulla Sharks lineup and off of last weekend's first half display, they are just about unchanged. I'll just go through it, and they've got Thomas Hazelton coming back into the fold for the Cronulla Sharks, so that's good. For the Bulldogs now, we've got Bronson Xerri, who's returning to Shark Park to play up against his old team. Bailey Hayward and Toby Sexton remain as the halves, and Sexton broke the record for most kicking meters in a game ever, kicking over 1,050 metres or thereabouts. He absolutely kicked the stitching out of the pill last weekend. The forward pack now, Daniel Saluka Fafita, hasn't he taken to the Bulldogs like a duck to water? And then the forward pack, Curran, Preston and Salmon. The interchange, Mann, Hayes, Tupanua and Curtis Morin. It's a shame that Burton and Kikau are not playing in this game. This is, or was looking like it was the game of the round, and some people would still hold that opinion. But this Cronulla Sharks outfit, now that they're not going to be playing in the blistering sun, they're going to have a much more cooler climate to do what they can do. I think that the Sharks are going to do this one well. I don't want to say, I nearly said comfortable, but I don't want to say comfortable because the Bulldogs' defense is still pretty decent. But I am going to say that Cronulla Sharks do win this game 13+. Sunday afternoon football, there are two contests, and match number 1 is from Four Pines Park. Manly take on the Parramatta Eels. Seagulls are $1.13 favourites, whereas the Parramatta Eels, it is $6.05 outsiders for them. For the Manly Seagulls, it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate their mentality after the news dropped that DCE will be leaving the Seagulls at the end of the season. Now, they've known some of the boys since January, since December. So it's not a shock to them about the announcement. But now that everybody knows, it'll be interesting to see how they go this Sunday with that news. Their backline is full strength. The forward pack is Aloye, Takeaho and Jazz Tavanga. Paseka did his Achilles and he is probably out for the rest of the season. So swiftest, quickest recoveries to you, Taniela Paseka. That is an awful injury, man. So Olukawatu and the Trbojevic brothers are rounding out the back row, and the interchange is Simpkin, Waddell, Bullymore, and Nathan Brown in jersey 17. For the Parramatta Eels now, Sean Russell returns to the fold in jersey number 2. Josh Adokar remains on the wing, and Will Penasini and Zach Lomax remain in the centres. Lomax, didn't he have a freaking game this past weekend? The halves remain the same. The forward pack, Jack Williams starts at prop with Junior Polo. Joey Lussick is in at hooker. Lane, Kaltoga and Hopgood is the back row. The interchange reads Riley Smith, Dury, Offahengawi and Dan Kia. And Manly Seagulls, sorry Parramatta fans, I think Manly win this game 13+. The final game of round number 4 is from Campbelltown Stadium. The Tigers host the New Zealand Warriors. Tigers, they are $1.57 favourites, whereas the Warriors, they are $2.41 outsiders. And I'll tell you what, 2 weeks ago, people, including me, would have looked at this game and said, yuck. But now, both teams coming in on a 2-game win streak. This could be really, really exciting, but there are team list changes. So for the Tigers now, their back line, I should say, is unchanged. The forward pack is also unchanged, and so too is their interchange. The team lists come from the New Zealand Warriors, and the New Zealand Warriors, Rocco Berry returns into the centre role. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is out for up to 8 weeks with a hamstring injury. So Pompey comes in back into the fold, and Harris Tavita and Luke Metcalf remain as the halves pairing. The forward pack is unchanged, and the interchange reads Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Vaimalga, and Halasima. Dylan Walker, he has been granted an immediate release to the Parramatta Eels based on compassionate grounds. So him being named in jersey 14, I don't know if he will play for the New Zealand Warriors. So maybe we will see either Samuel Healy come in and make his NRL debut, or maybe Tamari Martin will then get a bench spot. But Dylan Walker announced this morning that, or the New Warriors announced this morning that Dylan Walker will be a Parramatta Eel for the rest of the 2025 season. I liked what I saw from the New Zealand Warriors this past weekend, but there were still a lot of areas in that game, and the Roosters made a hell of a lot themselves. Tigers showing a lot of grit and determination to get back in to that contest and defeat the Dolphins in Queensland. I kind of flirted with the idea of the New Zealand Warriors for a couple of days, but I think now I'm actually going to tip the Tigers to win their third game in a row. Tigers fans, don't start believing or dreaming just yet, but holy crap. Yo guys, thank you very much for your continuous support. I hope you enjoyed the video. Apologies for not uploading yesterday, but I'm actually a bit crook at the moment, so I'll leave you guys. Have a very nice weekend. Enjoy the footy. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Take care. Adios.